of the universe. The Legends of Grayskull podcast.
Legends of Grayskull is a fan podcast exploring the vast worlds of He-Man and She-Ra. Join Sean Scavarna and Matthew Duke as they discuss the history and mystery of Eternia and Etheria, diving deep into all incarnations of Masters of the Universe.
Hey, you know who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Now that you know, let's go. Get ready for the show. It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Legends of Grayskull News Desk. Today, August 23rd, 2024, I am Matthew Dooch, here again with Mr. Skele Vader. Skele,
hello.
How we doing today?
I'm all right. I'm excited to be here. A lot of stuff to talk about.
Definitely.
Thanks for having me. Man, this is great.
No, this is amazing. So, yes, as those of you know, this is the Legends of Grayskull segment where we go over all the new and important info related to Masters of the Universe, possibly more. I think today is all Masters in one way or another. So we're going to start off first with some Dark Horse news. So first off, we do have on September 11th, we have issue number 4 of the current Revolution prequel comic coming out. That was actually delayed a month. It should have come out in August, but it's coming out in September.
That's nice. That's my birthday. It's a little birthday present for me.
That's actually my sister's birthday, my younger
sister. There you
go. Yeah. So that'll wrap up. Have you read that series at all?
I have not. You know, it's funny because you in the discussion, our previous discussion about what we might be talking about today, I saw the comics and I'm like, man, I have not felt the urgency to read more comics that have been coming out. I just I've had some disappointments recently, and so but I'm just because that issue's coming out on my birthday, I'll probably be picking that up.
So I've picked them all up so far.
Nice. Yeah.
But I haven't read them yet. I decided and that's just kind of more my problem with modern comics, that they do all the decompressed storytelling, that it's hard for me to go issue by issue anymore. So this series is the first time I decided I'm gonna pick them up because they have been selling out and I don't want to miss them. But I'm gonna wait until, especially with it being a mini series of 4 issues, I'm gonna wait till all 4 are released before I actually read through them. So
you just said a key phrase, mini series,
right?
And that's probably why I'm not paying too close attention to them. I feel less interest, in mini series than I do with an ongoing storyline, which that can evolve, right? And I would really love to see them do that with Masters.
They've definitely, ever since Eternity War and all that, like they've gotten into just doing these mini series, and that's what's killed it for me, is the fact that well, I'm still doing my part by purchasing them, but like it doesn't feel like you need to support it monthly, or I know if I wait 4 months, 5 months in this case because of the delay, that I'm gonna just be able to get the whole story at once instead of sitting there and waiting. So
I mean, the variant covers is a real draw for me, has been a real draw for me in the past, and that's one of the main reasons to go out and buy them. And I mean, I love some of the artwork that's come out for those variant covers. So
for sure,
that's enough. Like, that's cool enough.
So then the other news that we got from Dark Horse is later in September. And I'm assuming it's only this close because of the delay. But we do have issue number 1 of the Masters of the Universe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles of Grayskull, hidden comic shelves everywhere. So the description from Dark Horse: when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came across Krang and Shredder making a deal with some otherworldly demon mage named Skeletor, things get hella weird and they ended up in Eternia. It turns out when you mix Utram mutagen with demon magic, you get a nasty purple poison, and it's brought Eternia to the brink of chaos. So Leo, Raph, Donnie, and Mikey are teaming up with the Masters of the Universe to kick some blue bony butt. The only problem is He-Man is missing in action. And
yet he's right there on the cover.
This will come out on September 25th, 2024, and it is the first of a 4-issue mini-series. So,
well, I have to admit I'm kind of interested to see where the storyline goes, because yes. I've been an advocate for the weird mutated characters. So I'm not buying all these figures, but the ones that are really calling to me are the ones that are the mutated characters that we're familiar with. So it'd be really interesting to see how they delve into that storyline and show how those characters behave and react to things. So that kind of is intriguing to me.
No, I agree. I'm hoping it'll help me appreciate this line a bit more. I'll definitely be picking it all up, and I'll probably be doing the same thing as I've just done with this previous one. I'll probably wait till all 4 are out to actually read it. It is featuring Tim Seeley writing again.
I know folks have on this show and other shows, some people have mixed feelings about this, and so it's just we'll see. I mean, there's always a hope that someone's going to get better at doing what they do. So.
I and anybody who has seen our previous reviews, because Tim has done a lot of work in the modern Masters comics area, like he writes, and he always seems to get these miniseries, and he writes. Traditionally, he writes 3 really good issues, and then has no idea how to finish it. And that 4th issue, it always seems to be a big letdown.
And now, hasn't he in interviews admitted to that? Like he writes
as he goes. Yes, he doesn't plan out all the miniseries. He writes issue 1, then he moves on to issue like as they're being produced, he's doing the next issue. So yeah, he's admitted that, and it shows. Time and time again.
And that kind of intuitive approach and sort of like waiting for the way that a story is going to play out to strike you, it sometimes works, and but often I think like then it ends up just being what we're reading as and I don't mean this, and I don't mean Tim Seeley any disrespect, but what we end up reading is a first draft of what could potentially be a better story if it had more time to mature and evolve.
Never be afraid to change course. If you're writing and all of a sudden some new idea strikes you, or you realize a theme that you hadn't thought of before, but you still need to have that endpoint in sight. Maybe it changes along the way, but you need to know your basics of where your A, B, C, D point of where this story is charting. If that happens to change, that's probably going to be for the best. But this here's issue 1. I'll worry about issue 2 in a couple of weeks type writing.
It's sort of like, I work in education. That doesn't necessarily work so well when people are turning in assignments.
Right.
Waiting for that last moment. Now, I with that being said, I think maybe Tim Seeley would do better with an ongoing run of these comics as opposed to a miniseries. Yeah. It seems like that might be what's the handicap here, is that
he just needs more time to be able to naturally get there on his own.
Precisely.
So Tim Seeley, the artist is Freddie E. Williams II, who he had actually, and you can still find on his website, he had originally been approached to do a Turtles He-Man crossover like 2 or 3 years ago, and he had done some kind of concept art for that never got off the ground. But they did come back to him for this iteration of it that obviously took off. So great artwork. He's the one who's doing the cover that our YouTube viewers are seeing right there.
Yep. I really like his artwork. I really like it.
Yeah, he's a really good artist. He does a great job. So and then the colorist is Andrew Dahlhaus, lettering by And World Design.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll be interested to see how this storyline plays out. I hope it's super weird and funky.
Yeah, I hope it feels like Masters and Turtles, and I hope there's no end of the universe plot, because I am tired of end of the universe plots at this point.
It might happen, Matt. It might happen.
It happened in Injustice crossover. It happened in the Thundercats crossover. It happened in the multiverse crossover. It's just had them. Shredder and Krang on Eternia mutating things. We don't need to go any bigger than that. That is a 4-issue miniseries right there.
And that's fun in itself. I just, I'm on board already, with that idea. That'll be fun.
Then the other thing I found, just actually by random, it might have been announced somewhere, but I hadn't seen it. I found it as I was searching the Dark Horse site, trying to figure out why issue 4 of the Revolution wasn't out today or last month. Is they have the Art of Masters of the Universe Revolution hardcover coming out.
Yes. Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, these books, they've already released. I mean, we've got a bunch of art of and lots of stuff, but with the new Netflix series, they've already released an art book for Revelation. They released one for the CGI series. And this is their hardcover books, beautiful, big, and they are all full of behind the scenes looks at development of the show. Typically they have blurbs in there from the creators, writers, everything else, concept art, storyboard art, usually include kind of some scrapped pitches and stuff. So yeah, they're always a lot of fun. This is set for release on December 4th of 2024. 192 page hardcover. Retail price is $49.99. Typically you can also find them cheaper on Amazon. Usually about half price.
That's very true. And there will be sales down the line too on Amazon for even less. I think. These books are gorgeous. Oh yeah, they're always lovely. I think this one I might be interested to get. I refrain from the Revelation book and the CGI book, but this one, I really, really loved the Revolution episodes. And so I might be tempted to see the artwork from this.
Yeah, so I have not picked up Revelation yet, although I keep meaning to. I just haven't done it. I have the CGI book because it's actually really amazing. For CGI, it goes into their plans for the potential next season that never got made. And it really is eye-opening to show the progression, especially on that CGI series, how they got from classic designs to especially some of the more out there reinterpretations, and really helps you get into the mindset of that. So I'm really going to be curious for that, especially, Revolution gave us the different sorceress forms. We got Granomir. We got a lot of new iterations. So I'm going to be curious to see what that development process was like. And that's really why I get these, is I want to see that development process that we don't normally get to see. Honestly, even at $50, it's well worth it for the amount of content you get in these books. So it's a document, and this is a IP that we love. Having documents that map out the trajectory of new versions of familiar ideas is super cool. I love that. I love seeing the preliminary designs of characters and seeing how they evolve. I just love that. So so that'll definitely be a must see. Okay, let's go. Actually, let's go ahead. Were you able to find that information we were talking about?
I did. I found it,
right,
and
perfect.
I think it's pretty cool stuff here. But do you want to get us started on that, and then we'll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So there's been some information released regarding the Masters of the Universe movie that is set to
The
be
87 movie?
the one that's supposed to be coming out in 2026.
Oh, that
You know, the
that
one that we
that
know
movie.
the one. This is the one that's definitely coming out,
The
right?
live action movie that's been coming out for
Yeah,
23
yeah.
years now, that one.
Oh man, I'm waiting every single day for them to say it's not happening.
Do I need to pull out the Batman slapping Robin meme again?
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
it, right? This is probably not going to happen. But the problem here is, and for me, the little I got this little positive Skelly that sits on my shoulder, and it really is such an enthusiastic little guy. And every time a new piece of information pops up, I think, oh goodness, this potentially could happen.
So real quick before Skelly gets into the actual news, for
Yes.
those who are newer to this show, and this is Skelly's first time getting this Matt on camera. So yes, I was that enthusiastic, optimistic guy in 2001, in 2003, in 2007, in 2009, in 2012, and this I have been so beat down every time they announce a live action movie director, star, production house, distributor that I until I can pre-order the tickets on my local theater website, I will not believe that a movie is coming. But please go ahead and
You and me both, but they keep stringing me along. They keep stringing me along, and I have genuine interest. Now, this movie's probably not going to be good, and that's the part that sucks. Is it's probably not going to be good, but it'll be a different version. If it happens, it'll be a different version, and you know I'm always interested in different versions.
I'm
of this
fine with
stuff.
different versions. I'm fine with them deviating from the source material as long as I can look at it. I mean, I love CGI cartoon was amazing in my opinion. One of
Yeah.
my favorite cartoons in years. And it totally went off the rails. But
It
I could
did.
look at it and go, this is He-Man, and it's made
Yeah.
by people who respect and admire the source material.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you just give me a good popcorn flick with some good action and He-Man riding Battle Cat and everything's recognizable, like I'm fine with that.
That's the
So-
issue, right? I'm afraid I'm terrified there's not going to be a battle cat, but that's a whole other thing.
But yeah, so the actual announcements, go ahead.
Yeah, so they're every lately every month or so we get a little chunk of information.
Right.
We've got the He-Man / Prince Adam actor announced.
Who is it again? I forget.
Nicholas Galitzine. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. Galitzine. Nicholas Galitzine. He's a handsome young man. And then there has recently been an announcement that Tila has been cast, and that's Camila Mendez. And
Is
she's
that Eva's daughter?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, actually, let's look. I'm going to click on
Let's look it up
IMDb here and see if she's related to.
She played Veronica on the CW series Riverdale.
All right. Well, I never watched that.
I
Did
never
you?
watched Riverdale. It was one of those I always kind of meant to, but never got around to.
Hey, she did a voice from The Simpsons on The Simpsons in 2020.
Yeah, so films, she's been in The New Romantic, The Perfect Date, and Palm Springs. So nothing I have ever seen.
I haven't watched any of that stuff. So already we have two fairly good-looking young actors playing, roles that we absolutely want to make sure are played right. So nervous about that. Unless I hope their parents showed them the cartoon when they were little.
See, I don't know though. To me, I think it might be better for them to just kind of be like I hope they research the role.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they necessarily need to like be fans of the property. And sometimes being a fan can actually hinder
I agree.
some of the creativity that could come,
Yeah. I
Let
totally
me share
agree.
a picture of her right quick. So that's Camila Mendez.
I can see her playing Tila.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. There's
Yeah.
nothing that throws me there. Obviously, I mean, I know I have seen uproar because they did not cast a natural redhead in the role, but like, come on, guys, it's Hollywood.
Yeah.
You think
what is hair color, anyways? And like skin color, ethnicity, hair color. These are characters that we love not for necessarily hair color, skin color, but for who they are, right? I mean, that's what we should be loving these characters for. So, I'm interested to see what she does with it.
Yeah, I look at her, I'm like, that's fine. I get them wanting to do young actors. Like, to me, that speaks to, maybe we're looking at a franchise if this movie were ever to get made, which it's not. But like, I get it. Like, you're not going to cast, you want these young guys for these roles. So
yeah, so
like,
they keep it going. Yeah,
yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Now I'm okay with those announcements. I'm okay with those actors. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But
Sure.
a factoid that I actually did get excited about is that the director of photography was announced recently, Fabian Wagner. And this particular director of photography has worked on some significantly cool looking movies. So say what you will about Justice League. I never watched Zack Snyder's Justice League. I did try to watch the Zack Snyder's version of Justice League that actually came out in theaters. I didn't like the movie, but I liked the way certain aspects of it looked. And that's the director of photography. And so I got kind of excited, but then I saw what other things this person has worked on. Game of Thrones. And if you're familiar with Game of Thrones, you know that that's a good looking show. I mean, it's like it feels like you're watching a movie. The scenery is epic. The photography is excellent. There's a real artistry to what this guy does as a director of photography. So I'm kind of excited. And not only that, but while I was watching Game of Thrones, I kept thinking this could be Masters of the Universe.
For sure. Definitely.
And so I would love to see a Masters of the Universe that looks like it lives in that space visually and aesthetically. So I'm kind of stoked that this person, Fabian Wagner, is serving as director of photography on this film project that, as you said, will never get made.
No, it won't. So and I'm happy for these people being signed on to a movie that they will never actually take the stage for.
I want to see it happen.
So not Fabian Wagner, the Swedish ice hockey player.
No.
Okay. No, that's good. At least they're not hiring the ice hockey player. But I also show J.J. Abrams' 2018 movie Overlord. The 2015 Victor Frankenstein. And
I didn't see those.
And he is doing the upcoming Venom: The Last Dance, which will release later this year, if I recall correctly.
Cool.
So he's got some medieval stuff. He's got some superhero stuff. He's got war horror. Like
Mhm.
it's a unique background, at least. I'll give it to that.
Yeah.
I'm not appalled by these choices. I actually feel sad that none of these people will ever get to shoot a scene. So.
Yeah, well, hopefully they get checks, you know what I mean, leading up to this project. Hopefully they get paid for being on board, even if it doesn't happen.
I'm curious, just real quick, just because my brain works this way. Like I like plug to a show that I have no affiliation with other than listening to, but the best movies never made. It's a
yeah.
podcast hosted by Steven Scarlatta, and I feel bad because I can't remember the other Josh. Oh man, I feel really bad now. But they do. They go through and they talk about the movies that weren't made. Like the most recent one I listened to from them, which was a lot of fun, was Beverly Hills Cop. They went through like the abandoned sequels that happened, but like there was a bunch of part 2. Well, there's like a whole thing where Stallone was going to be the Eddie Murphy character of Axel Foley, and like that was a whole different. But like they go through all these different iterations and versions and script revisions, and how oddly it ties through to each other. And it's funny because like in that case they went through about a potential, I think there were parts of potential Beverly Hills Cop 3s that then watching the new Axel F movie, I don't know if you watched or if you're even
I haven't
into
watched
Beverly
it yet.
Hills
No,
Cop,
yeah.
but like there's stuff that was scrapped from previous scripts that then ended up resurfacing in Axel F. So it's like
that's cool.
So I kind of like they go through the different things, and one of the big things that they talk about, they're both writers. Like one of them, they wrote Sonic the Hedgehog, and a bunch of different movies. Josh Miller, thank you.
Josh Miller,
he wrote Sonic the Hedgehog most famously. Steven Scarlatta, he was a producer on Dune. So they're in the industry, and they talk a lot about the behind the scenes, like writers arbitration and stuff like that, and who actually makes it on the movie might not even have worked on every iteration of the movie or like. So I'm curious, in a case like this where technically this movie has kind of dragged on for like 20 years, like who actually gets credit, what kind of ideas get recycled. But yeah, if you're into nerdy stuff like that, definitely best movies never made is a ton of fun because they go through they've got a whole one on like the Spider-Man movies from like canon up until the Sam Raimi one actually came in, like that whole 80s early 90s era where there was there was James Cameron. They went over his take on Spider-Man, and they because they're in the industry, they can actually pull these scripts and stuff, and they always have famous guests too. But it's a lot of fun. It digs into the weeds. So like I would be curious if this movie ever does get made, just kind of looking back and seeing what's pulled from previous iterations, who gets credit on different stuff. But that's just the way my geeky brain works.
I am so excited to learn about this podcast. So I am subscribing today.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah. So. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, I love all that behind the scenes info. So
yeah, me too.
All right. So hopefully, even though it won't happen, something happens. Now, remind me, I also don't follow this news as closely. That's why I'm glad to have Skele here. Yeah. So it's moved on from Netflix now, right? Because it was a theatrical release, then Netflix picked it up, but now this is even beyond that, right? Like now
I haven't heard anything past the Netflix. So I'm not sure where it's going to go now. Amazon, maybe? I don't know.
I thought Netflix had dropped their option.
Let me see here if there's any information.
See if I can find anything. Yeah, July 23, Netflix canceled its movie.
Man.
That's because that's when the Knee Brothers were on. Kyle Allen was supposed to star.
That's true.
And
that's true.
We had Noah Centineo before that.
Yep, that's right.
trying to see here. Look at here.
All I know is that I just hope that it gets a theatrical release, and there's one reason why.
So that we can go see it in the theaters.
Well, that's I guess that's the main reason. But the second there's the second reason. Popcorn bucket.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I want a Battle Cat head popcorn bucket.
You did the
so
Battle Cat
bad.
Dude. The power sword, the hilt pops off, and the whole inner blade of the sword is.
It has to be really long. It has to be really long too. Oh man. No, I don't. I just hope that it gets a theatrical release. Really, I don't know what the news is on that.
Okay, so yeah, Nicholas is starring. Travis Knight is directing the film, and it is set for a theatrical release worldwide on June 5th of 2026.
Wow.
That is the blurb that I am getting.
That is not too far away.
Yeah, you'd really think they would start filming, huh? And Travis Knight has... Oh, that was the director of Bumblebee.
Okay, yeah, I did hear that. I did hear that. So that's not bad. Bumblebee was fun.
The Box Trolls. He did a 2020 $6 billion man. Starring Mark Wahlberg.
What?
I didn't even know they.
I mean, I didn't know about that. That's crazy. That came and went.
Did that really come out?
We're gonna have to look into that. That's fascinating. I would assume I would hear about something like that in my circle.
Mark Wahlberg offers an optimistic update on his. Okay, it looks like it didn't actually get made.
So much for an optimistic update from Mark Wahlberg on that project.
Yeah, he was just attached to it. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm like, how could I? But apparently Wahlberg still has the rights, and as of like last or a couple months ago, he's supposedly still making it.
Well, you know what? I love the $6 Million Man franchise. I would love to see Mark Wahlberg play that character. I think that would be good.
Sure.
As long as it's a little bit funny too, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's got pretty good comedic chops, that guy.
So yeah, so Bumblebee's his biggest thing. I never actually saw that.
I saw bits and pieces. It's fun, you know. It's not Game of Thrones that I watched from beginning to end, regretting watching the end.
Yes.
But you know, so
I will say this has more casting now with Tila being revealed than any of the previous iterations have. Because before it was, here's your director, here's your He-Man, and then nothing ever again. So it has already made it farther than the previous stuff. So
that's right. Oh, and you know what? And Box Trolls was good. I saw Box Trolls. That was good. But we'll I'm telling you, something in me is telling me that this is going to happen, and I'm going to be disappointed if it doesn't happen. But I have to say though, I won't be too disappointed because I am kind of expecting it to. So
right. All right,
but
then
it feels like it is coming.
I hope so. Last bit of news we've got is Mattel's latest crowdfund, the Snake Lair, has been postponed indefinitely.
Well,
Mattel has said that they put out a poll to gauge the fan reaction, kind of asked what you liked, what you didn't like about it, asked whether you thought you would support it at a $300 price point. And then shortly after that poll went out, they said that they hear us and they want to make sure they get this right before they send it to the crowdfund. And so they are delaying it indefinitely. So
my thought is, I like that Mattel listened to the fans. I like that they listened to us. I actually responded to that poll.
I did as well.
And I also responded to the crowdfund options that they gave us quite a while ago, which a lot of people voted for the Snake Lair back then. That's why it is the crowdfund option.
Right.
I want them to send another questionnaire out. What do we want to see? Because
yeah.
I think they're going to get answers that lead them back toward familiar territory. And I know that we just talked about this a little bit earlier today, but I'm just going to.
But later for you
But
that
later
are
for
listening
you that are
to
listening.
us.
So maybe I'll save that tidbit of information or my idea for you all to chime in, hear that other episode. But
here's the big key is the
Mhm.
fact that at the end of the day, they ran that Eternia choice. We got to vote on what we wanted to see, and they put out the concept art for every one of the options.
Yes.
And then they delivered a product that is in no way even reminiscent of that concept art. And they made it a gigantic Eternia rivaling playset at a $300 price point.
Right.
Because I didn't vote for the Snake Lair. If they had delivered a cool Snake Lair at a reasonable price, I might have been, in the style and size of Castle Grayskull, I might have still even been like, okay, you know what? That's cool enough. And it's a decent price. But they have to understand not everything has to be a $300 crowdfund. You can do smaller options. It's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't. The Snake Lair doesn't need to be a crowdfund. It needs to be an $80 to $100 playset that matches Castle Grayskull in size and Snake Mountain in size. But therein lies the dilemma, and how we have to ask ourselves as fans of this IP, how closely related is Snake Mountain to the Snake Lair? That gets into a whole discussion, but I think.
Well, yeah. And I think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
No, you go.
I think a crowd. First of all, there was only one item on the Eternia's Choice questionnaire that they sent out that is worth $300. And what was that item?
Doom Tower.
Amen.
Absolutely.
That is the item that is worth $300+ because that is going to be something that genuinely within the actual realm that we live in as collectors of this stuff matches the size of Eternia.
Yes.
If it can be a little bit smaller, it's probably going to be about the same height.
Oh yeah,
but it's definitely going to be worth that price tag. When I did the Eternia choice, I wanted to see certain things on that list, but they said it was going to be crowdfunded, so I voted for that Doom Tower because I believe that that's the thing that would be worth that kind of price tag based on our previous experience with Eternia.
And same for me. That was my number one want off of that list. And it's because, I mean, again, size, to get it the size it needs to be, it needs to be that Eternia height. So yes, it is the best crowdfund option in my opinion. And honestly, it's the only way I see it getting made because, you know, for whatever reason, and I not to shame or slam or look down on anybody who feels this way, but the majority of Masters fans like the Fright Zone playset better than the Filmation Fright Zone. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. No offense again, but it doesn't make sense to me why. Like, it was a cool playset. I had it, but like Doom Tower is so much more awesome, and it really sets Hordak apart in story wise, in my opinion, from Skeletor. But the fact of the matter is, you release the toy Fright Zone in a store, and it's going to sell out. enough
instantly.
people want it that it will sell out. It does not. That's the one where I'm like, that does not need to be a crowdfund.
No, that was an insane idea, and also a vehicle. Insane idea for that to be a crowdfund. It's not a Thunder Tank or wait, what is that? What it's called from Thundercats? Thunder Tank, right?
The Thunder Tank. Yeah.
So
like I mean, I could see that. I mean, GI Joe's been doing really great with their Hasbro Pulse vehicles, but again, they're not $300. Like,
yeah,
I don't mind a crowdfund being cheaper. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's obscure enough that you're like, okay, we can't mass retail this. But see, Mattel's got it in their mind for whatever reason, like, oh, crowdfunds have to be $300. Like, they have to be this high dollar item. And it's like, no, sometimes you can just do something for the fans. You know, maybe it's just $100, but there's just a small number of fans that want it, and they're willing to pay a premium on it to, ensure it gets made, and they're willing to pay you up front to ensure it gets made.
Yeah.
Like, that's the items you crowdfund. You don't crowdfund Filmation Attract Track. You don't do Toy Fright Zone. And honestly, Snake Men have gotten enough love in recent years. I don't think you need to do a Snake Lair crowdfund.
I'm with you 100%.
But I'm okay with it. But like, do it in the vein of the size of Grayskull, Snake Man. I know I'm pointing my classics, but still, you get the idea. Like, it but just throw it out there at $100.
I agree. And so the primary thing, I mean, just to go back in time a little bit to what you were saying, people are attached to the Toy Fright Zone for nostalgia reasons. They love that toy. They love the dragon. They want to see an update with that, the snake serpent monster. They want to see an update to all of those things. Imagine what they could do with a tree and the grasping play feature and all that stuff. It'll be amazing, but it doesn't need to be a crowdfund. Attack Track, phenomenal. They put the collector out. I'm surprised that could have been more gigantic and could have been a crowdfund and could have had better detail, which we'll get into, but at another time maybe. But and then the Attack Track could be a vehicle. The size, and sell it at the $80 price point. It could be a big vehicle. But the type of thing that people are Mattel, I know this. So I'm not sure what happened, but the type of thing that you're going to get instantaneous reaction to from the fans, it is something that is familiar to them. If you make a Filmation style Snake Mountain that is huge, and that's not discounting the Super 7 Classic Snake Mountain, because there's definitely Filmation influence there. Yeah, it's still more influenced by the original playset. If you do a Filmation Snake Mountain, if you do a Doom Tower, or as we've been talking about, that's really the Fright Zone from the cartoon. Right. Those are going to be items that we're going to glom onto as fans because, number one, we never had it. And number two, we've always wanted to see it. We've always wanted to play with those things. And, just a little hint to Mattel also, the Filmation style Snake Mountain could transform into a Snake Lair. Okay, just saying it. Okay, bye.
But not Lady Slithers. That's the other thing.
I know.
If you want to split the lore, technically King Hiss had Snake Mountain and Lady Slither had Snake.
That's so true. That's true. What do people really want to see? I want to see a Grayskull-sized, an Origins Grayskull-sized Lady Slither's Snake Lair from the original design that they posted on the Eternia Choice, because that was a pretty darn cool design. Reminiscent of that jungle playset that eventually became Snake Mountain. Yeah. I mean, reminiscent of that with the kind of like, Raiders of the Lost, not Raiders of the Lost Ark, but Temple of Doom feel to it. Like, how cool was that original design? And the newer one, I know in my heart of hearts that Mattel was really trying so hard to impress us. They really were. I know they were trying to impress us, but it just it just didn't quite work out that way.
No, they got the wrong designers on it. They just decided to come up with something completely different instead of trying to embellish and bring that concept art to life. And it would make a great Imagine X playset on the store
That's
shelves.
what people are saying. I agree. Imagine X playsets are cool, but they are Imagine X playsets. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So hopefully they'll take the time. Hopefully they'll get it right, and hopefully those people who did vote for Snake Lair will get a chance to pre-order their Snake Lair that they voted for. So
I have a question for you. Did you get the Eternia playset?
No. Nope. I
did not. You put your Eternia playset in a room with your classic Snake Mountain and your classics Grayskull. That's already a lot of real estate taken up by plastic. And that's another question Mattel needs to ask themselves. Is that what people really need right now or want? Is another thing that just takes up a lot of space in their display rooms. Not everyone that's a toy collector has a room to display their stuff in. So, I mean, I would just say, that Mattel, I would just hope that Mattel would just continue making affordable playsets that we can fold up and store away if need be, or put on the shelf, and they'll all fit on a shelf, because that's kind of how we got started with this whole thing in the first place. It's really the classics line that sort of gave us the taste of gigantic, right?
Right. And then that's it. It's just you guys they have to understand. And I've seen a lot of people lately that are realizing they can't collect it all. They're dropping Origins, or they're dropping Masterverse, or or other dropping Marvel Legends to focus on this or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, there's only so much room, and so really you've got to. And for that point, I can understand why people might want the Snake Lair, because at least it's something different. I've got my classics Grayskull. I've got my Origins Grayskull. I've got do we need another, or is this something completely different? So but at the same time, you've got to understand that not everything needs to be Eternia sized. Just make it right. And that could have been an option for some people. Maybe some people want Eternia and they couldn't get it, so they voted for the playset that seemed the most cost effective. They're looking at that Snake Lair going, that'll be about Grayskull size, so that I can afford that. Maybe that swayed some people.
That makes a lot of sense, Matt. And also, does Mattel really want to give us something that is equivalent to the size of Eternia for Origins? Because Eternia is supposed to live on this pedestal for us as collectors. It's supposed to be this special, gigantic thing that me and most other kids could never get their hands on or never saw in stores. Right. It evaded us in many ways, and so that is the kind of territory you have to enter into if you're going to do a crowdfund.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, just give us more affordable, cool play sets.
Yep. So hopefully they are realizing that, and they'll retool, redesign, and hopefully come back stronger than ever. So, because I'd hate to see them stop the crowdfund, because it is a great idea to get some more unique items, but they just got to understand how to manage it properly.
Yeah, they got to really, you got to really tempt us with something that gets us on every level, gets us fans interested on every level. And I would be interested in a Snake Lair. I'm not a huge fan of the Snake Men, but that original design of the Snake Lair, I've grown to love it since I keep looking at those illustrations, So I'd buy it for $80.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get your chance.
I don't actually know if I'd buy it, but I do like the idea. I do like the idea of fans, and you and I both, we've got friends that absolutely love the Snake Man. I know you have an appreciation for the Snake Man.
Yes.
Like, I think that it makes sense to put that out at the same level as the other stuff that means so much to us as well.
Absolutely. Nope, completely agree. And we'll see what happens. So
yeah.
All right, guys, I think that's all the news for today. We want to thank you for joining us. Do us a favor and click all those buttons down below there. Like, share, subscribe. We appreciate the support. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about the postponement or any of the other news we talked about today. And until next time, keep hounding Mattel for a better Snake Lair.
Oh, come on.